In the first part of this video, I wanted to show the difficulty we had just to get into these impacted areas. But then if you look out the windows, you start seeing these people's property that used to be maybe a 10-foot wide river, but now is completely, football fields in width. And that brought up a whole nother fear of the people. The people were concerned that there was a possibility the government would be stealing or taking over their land. And whether or not that's true or not is not really my point. The point is that people do know is that a river cannot be owned by an individual. So now this river that used to be maybe 3-foot wide or 10-foot wide or whatever is now completely taken over their entire property. And that is bringing validity to their concerns. One of the things that's so difficult about this whole thing is that the roads are being worked on constantly and improved. And so even to get to where we're going, it literally could be 2 hours wait. You just stand in lines like this. If you look, we're moving, so we're good. But I just wanted you to see, this is some of the difficulties right here. I think another issue that most people don't really comprehend fully is this wasn't just a hurricane that brought flooding, but it also brought what they call a geological events, which means there were over 2,000 mudslides. In all actuality, for the people up in these mountains, the mudslides did much more damage than just flooding. So houses that were below the mountains were completely washed away with debris, mud, rocks, trees that, just like as in these pictures, literally came down the mountain and completely wiped off the foundation, the house right below, right there. We were very grateful to have lots of people who loved and supported us enough to help us with the finances, to rent equipment, get trailers, get the side-by-side. All of the donations that we brought into the area made a huge difference, and we literally used every tool that was made available to us. One of the coolest things is during this time where everybody's coming together and working together in organizing the rescue efforts and the, bringing people, food and power and all of that, you build these relationships with people. And although we were able to bring the skid steer and all that equipment, it wasn't until we got there that we met the people that could get in there and make such a huge difference as they did. So sometimes it's sort of hard to understand the people that live up here and the poverty they were already in, and then why it's so difficult to find them. We found this place, and it's completely washed out. And so we were able to get an RV for them. As you can see, it's just impoverished. And even though the RV that we got wasn't the greatest, I think that it is it's what they need for now, and it's like the Holiday Inn compared to what they had. So this is the new RV. We got them a generator that can plug in, and there's a heater inside that we put in there. So one family taken care of. While we had our driver out working the skid steer, Gail and I got in and helped this local church with just trying to get ready to start the rebuild, the cleaning out all of the stuff, all of the trash, all of the wet, moldy material. And I found some really sad but powerful artifacts like this Bible right here. Shout out to Seth, the volunteer fire department that put us to this job. This is what I mean by every piece of equipment is needed. Taking all the trash out of this church, load it up here and take it to the trash bin, but how handy did this little thing come? Thankful for it. First of all, number one, everybody's going to be asking, why were you here? You had no idea.
No clue.
Right?
This is my first year here, and everyone told me that I was on the high ground and that the water would just maybe get underneath my trailer, we may lose power for about 10 to 12 hours. Everything will be fine. I can handle that.
Yeah.
And I saw a giant sheet of the road come up and just disappear.
The pavement.
Yes. That road that was up there, yes.
Oh my God.
And it disappeared. And that's when I realized I'm not going anywhere. So at first I noticed that my vehicles were kind of sheltering me from the water. Okay. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's one reason I wasn't too worried about it. Because if they hadn't been there, the water would have been up to my window at least. Like, and I was looking at that the other day on the videos. I'm like, wow, like I didn't realize how high the water, 'cause I was thinking, how did it not, you know, and I'm looking in the front and I'm just like, okay, so I started doing the math and I'm like, well, it would have been up to my window had those vehicles not been there.
So and then, the debris that got, Hey, this is Seth from the volunteer fire department. He was our first contact here, and he was just kind of going over and showing us some things that need to be done with the excavator, and I thought you'd hear it from the horse's mouth himself. What needs to be done here?
Yeah, well, a lot of landscaping. We've got, I mean, so much trash, debris just right here in the front, or in the side yard of the church. Needs to be hauled off. We got a giant burn pile we actually lit last night. We're going to probably light the next few nights. Try to get fencing. All this fencing, any of this that we've ripped out of the church building needs to be piled up. And then, like I said, all this needs to be kind of semi-landscaped so we can get field dirt in here. And a lot of these, right here is a pretty tight area, so skid steer is perfect for that job.
Right.
And then a lot of these homes over here need a driveway. I mean, they've got a rough driveway in, but it's not smooth at all. Some of them, I mean, are only going to be able to get their trucks out, not even getting their cars out right now.
So we got help. Came all the way from Jacksonville, Florida.
Along with our skid steer, it's all right there.
Yeah, the skid steer's behind me.
before that last Friday in September, this was a quiet little creek that was maybe 3 to 6 inches deep and maybe 6 feet wide. The trees came all the way down and the tops touched each other over the creek bed. And all this happened. The distance between the trees on this side and that side used to be maybe 12, 15 feet.